Alrighty, young lads, this one is for you. Yes, you, the nephews, the brothers, the younger ones. And I want you to sit your ass down and I want you to listen to Auntie Jazz for a minute, because I have something to say. And before everybody gets sensitive, before any of the little ego starts twitching, and before any grown man starts to come in and say, this isn't all men, just relax. It's not about you. But if it does actually hit you, then it will educate you. And if it is about you, then it might actually save you. But today I wanted to talk to the men, because there are a lot of you out here moving around like you understand women, talking like you got game and acting like sex is a personality and behaving like access to women is some kind of prize that you deserve just because you grew a beard. And then you send those late night texts saying, hey, are you up? Baby, no. That is not masculinity, that is not leadership, and that is not power. That is also not maturity. That is just your hormones, ego, bad habits, unhealed bullshit, and probably just a Wi-Fi connection. Alright, so let me say this clearly right from the start. If you do not understand, if you do not respect, and if you do not have any emotional regulation and self-awareness, then your dick should not be leading your life. And your values are the ones that should. Your character is the one that should. And your integrity should be the one that should. Because the only thing that is, if the only thing that is leading is your lust, then you're not a real man in control. You're just a little boy being dragged around by those impulses. Yes, and I said it, little boy, because too many of you have learned how to chase women before you've learned how to actually honor one. You've learned how to flirt before you've learned how to actually communicate. And you've learned how to lie smoothly before you've learned how to tell the truth cleanly. You've learned how to get pictures, get attention, get access and validation. Yet, it's just to feed your little ego. But you haven't learned how to protect peace. You haven't learned how to hold emotional safety. And you still haven't learned how to be honest when honesty costs you something. And that's when you wonder why women get angry. That's why you wonder why women get cold. And you wonder why women clock your bullshit before you've even finished your sentence. And you wonder why women don't trust you. It's because women have a pattern recognition. That's why they can pick it up before you've even thought about it yourself. So before you start saying, oh, hold on a minute, Jazz. Women do all these bad things too. Yes, obviously. This is not a fucking court case. This is a lesson, and I'm talking to the nephews today. Because a lot of you are out here trying to enter this adult relationship with playground behavior. And it's embarrassing. And actually, let me correct that. It's actually dangerous. It's immature. And it actually creates real damage in other people's lives. So yes, Auntie Jazz is going to give some advice for the nephews. It might sound a bit funny. It sure as shit will sound raw. And it's going to be the truth. Because the truth is, love isn't there when lies have been the thing that's been raising you. And I want every young man listening to this to understand this. Women are not here to be your practice dummies. They're sure as shit not here to be your pipe cleaners. We're not here to help you figure yourself out while you leave an emotional wreckage everywhere that you go. Women are not rehabilitation centres for male confusion, and women are not sex vending machines with trauma intolerance. So if that sounds harsh, good. Maybe harsh is what your generation needs, because soft hasn't been landing. I know, I'm a mother of 2 sons, and you cannot keep behaving recklessly with women's bodies, with women's time, with women's trust, with their emotions and their features, and then act shocked when their accountability comes back around and it slaps you in the mouth. Because here's the one thing that really gets to me. Some of you keep sexualizing somebody else's daughter, somebody else's sister. You keep wasting somebody else's girlfriend's time. You want to keep on cheating on somebody else's friend and then laugh with your boys. You want to laugh with your boys about using girls. And then the minute somebody says, cool, imagine that man doing that same thing to your mum, you become offended. Now that's when you become angry. That's when it becomes disrespectful. And suddenly there are morals in your life. Suddenly there's honor. And suddenly all of a sudden something actually matters. So let me ask you something, nephew. Why does a woman become human to you only when she is attached to a man who she actually respects? Why do some of you only understand dignity when it is connected to your mother, your sister, your cousin, your future daughter, but not when it is a woman standing right in front of you in her own right? Because that right there, that right there is immaturity. That right there is a lack of empathy. That right there is a spiritual problem. Because if your morality only turns on when you imagine ownership, then you do not understand respect. Respect is not about position. Respect is not about possession. It's actually about humanity. So now we're going to talk about health. Not just because I want to roast you, but because I want to actually educate you. There are a lot of these men out here that call this normal male behavior. And it's actually poor impulse control. Poor impulse control. It's emotional undevelopment. It's reward addiction, and it's validation hunger. And it's actually a nervous system immaturity. That's not me insulting you. That's me here telling you the truth. Your brain has a reward system. And if you constantly train yourself on novelty, instant gratification, sexual requests, porn, swiping, ego jokes, your attention hits and it never can sit still with its own discomfort. Then your brain starts expecting those quick rewards and shallow stimulation. That doesn't make you masculine. That makes you conditioned. And that prefrontal cortex, the part that involves your judgment, your planning, your impulse control, long-term thinking, that continues to develop in your mid-20s. So you've got to listen to me, especially if you are a younger man, especially the Generation Z. Listen carefully. Your feelings being loud does not mean that your choices should be dumb. Your hormones are not your personality. And your little urges that you get, that's not your identity. Because your erection is not a leadership strategy. God, I can't even believe I actually said that out loud. But here we are. So let's break it down properly. I'm going to give you 10 red flags. 10 ways men disrespect women. 10 ways to tell on yourself without even realizing it. And then I'm going to give you 10 green flags, so don't worry about it. 10 signs that a man can actually grow up, get stronger, get wiser, and become safe around, okay? Are you ready? All right, good. When you get some water, grab your popcorn and listen, because we're going to start off with the top 10 red flags. So red flag number 1, you only value women you want to sleep with. If you are kind to attractive women and dismissive to women you are not trying to impress, you are not respectful. You're an opportunistic. A respectful man does not suddenly develop manners when he wants access. He has manners because he has character. Red flag number 2, you treat sex like it's a proof of status. If the main reason you chase women is to impress other men, to feed your ego, or to feel important, then this isn't about connection. This is insecurity and expensive trainers. And you're not building intimacy. You're collecting evidence for a fragile self-image, and women can see it. Red flag number 3, you lie because the truth might cost you something. You say you're single when you're not. You say you're serious when you're bored. You say you care when you're just actually horny. You say, I'm just going through a lot, when really you just want options. That's manipulation. And manipulation is what weak men do when honesty would require courage. Red flag number 4. You make women responsible for your self-control. She was asking for it. She knew what she was doing. She should not have worn that. She led me on. Nephew, shut up. You are responsible for your behavior. A woman existing is not an excuse for your lack of discipline. Self-control is a part of adulthood. It's called growing up. It's not a bonus feature. Red flag number 5. You mock woman's pain because you do not understand it. You joke about periods. You dismiss our hormones. You call women dramatic. You treat emotional expression like it's weak. Meanwhile, if you had abdominal cramps, back pain, blood loss, mood shifts, inflammation, and still had to go to work, and you still had to smile, and you still had to function and keep the whole house alive, you would be laid out like a frickin' ghost. Respect what you do not experience. Ignorance is not masculinity. Red flag number 6. You expect loyalty from women while offering confusion. You want access without commitment, and you want support without consistency. You want softness while bringing chaos, and you want women to trust you while you keep secrets. You play games, you disappear, then you reappear, and you act like basically communication is oppression. No, trust is built through steadiness. And if you are inconsistent, you are not mysterious, you're just unstable. Alright, red flag number 7. You embarrass women in public and want intimacy in private. Flirting with other women in front of her, talking down to her, making sly jokes at her expense, ignoring her in front of your friends because you want to look powerful. That's not an alpha anything. That's just a little boy behavior with facial hair. Red flag number 8. You cannot handle being told no. If rejection makes you feel insulted, aggressive, it makes you feel like you've got to mock or cruel, then you were never interested in connection. You were interested in control. A real man can hear no without falling apart. A man with emotional fitness can be disappointed without being disrespectful. Red flag number 9. You use women as emotional bins but do not respect emotional depth. You dump your problems on her, you want comfort, you want your comfort, you want her body, you want her listening ear, you want her validation. But when she needs clarity, consistency, presence, accountability, suddenly she's too much. No, nephew, you cannot feed off feminine energy and then resent feminine truth. Red flag number 10. You do not own your own healing. You know you're angry, you know you got father wounds, you know you got mummy issues, you know that you can be an avoidant, you know that you cheat for validation, you know you watch too much porn, you know that you lie, you know that you cannot communicate, you know that you sabotage good things, and instead of doing the work you call it just how men are. That sentence right there has protected too much bullshit for too long. No, that is how unhealed men are. That is how undisciplined men are. And that is how emotionally lazy men are. Not all men, just the ones refusing to grow. Alright, take a breath. Because I know some of y'all are probably sweating. Good, you should be. But I'm not here to just drag you through the dirt and leave you there as well. I'm here to show you what you can become as well. So we've gone through the 10 red flags. Now let's do some of the green flags, and these are the 10 ways men show respect. Okay, the 10 signs that nephew is becoming a man a woman can actually trust, children can actually look up to, and communities can really rely on. Okay, you ready? So green flag number 1, you actually can tell the truth cleanly, not perfectly but honestly. You say what you want, you say what you can offer, you say what you cannot offer. You do not waste women's time with half-truths and fake futures. Honesty is attractive because honesty is safe. Green flag number 2, you regulate yourself. You do not blame your temper, your lust, your stress, your childhood, or your bad day for treating people badly. You learn to pause. You learn to breathe. You learn to think before you react. You learn that being triggered is real, but turning that trigger into somebody else's pain is a choice. Green flag number 3, you respect women when no one is watching. Not just when you want something, Not just when she's beautiful, not just when you are trying to win, in private, in public, online, offline, with your boys, in your messages, in your jokes, with your choices, and how you show that respect. Because integrity is what you do when applause is absent. Green flag number 4. You understand that women are whole human beings, not just functions. She's not just sex. She's not just comfort. She's not just a womb. She's not just aesthetics. She's not just your emotional labor. And she's not just there for your entertainment. A mature man knows a woman has a body, yes, but also has a mind. Also has a spirit, a nervous system, boundaries, dreams, and a future that should not be wrecked by his confusion. Green flag number 5. You can apologize properly. Not, I'm sorry you feel that way. Boy, please. That's not an apology. That's a coward wearing grammar. A real apology says, I see what I did. I understand the impact I made. I was wrong. I am changing the behavior. That is accountability, and that is growth. Green flag number 6. You honor woman's boundaries without sulking. If she says no, it is a no, because no is a complete sentence. If she says slow down, you slow down. If she says she does not like the joke, you stop. If she says she's uncomfortable, you do not negotiate her discomfort like a second-hand car sale. Respect is not tested when you get your way. Respect is tested when you do not get your way. Green flag number 7. You do not need your boys' approval of your values. A lot of men betray good women just to look cool in front of foolish men, which is so tragic. If your masculinity collapses because another man laughs at tenderness, loyalty, monogamy, respect, or emotional intelligence, then you were never standing in masculinity to begin with. You were standing in performance. Green flag number 8. You did the inner work. Therapy, if you could access it. Mentoring, prayer, meditation, journaling, community men's work, learning, reflection, taking responsibility, not because you are broken, but because you do not want your wounds driving your life. A mature man does not dump his unprocessed pain into every relationship and call it honesty. He processes it. Green flag number 9. You know that sexual discipline is power. Yes, I said discipline, because some of you think that power is in how many women want you. No. Power is what you can say no to. Power is whether you can master yourself. And power is whether attraction makes you stupid. Power is whether desire can sit in the same room as the values and still bow to integrity. Green flag number 10. You leave women better than you found them. Not dependent, not traumatized, not confused, not ashamed, not questioning their worth because of your inconsistency. A good man leaves honesty, safety, clarity, and dignity behind him. Even if the relationship doesn't work, his presence does not create damage as a personality trait. So there we go. That's it. That is the green flag energy, the red flag energy. That's the growing man energy and the green flag energy. That is what we are aiming for. Now I want to speak to the younger nephews for a minute. Please listen carefully. Being young is not a crime. Learning is not a crime. Getting things wrong is not a crime. But refusing to learn, refusing to listen, refusing to grow, and hiding behind your youth while you repeatedly disrespect women, that is a problem. You do not become a man because your voice got deeper. You do not become a man because girls like you. And you do not become a man because you have sex. You become a man when your word means something. When your presence creates safety, when your actions match your mouth. And when your impulses do not run your whole life. When people around you do not have to recover from you, that is manhood. And to the dads, the husbands, the single fathers, the older men still moving wild and then acting confused, when life gets lonely, let me say this with love and a little oomph in my voice. Your age does not automatically mean maturity. Some of you just got older, boys, and you're just holding bills. Some of you have children watching how you speak to women, and some of you have sons learning manhood from your lies. Some of you have daughters learning what to tolerate from your disrespect, and some of you have wives carrying emotional and domestic load while you act like providing money is the whole assignment. Nope. Provision without presence is incomplete, and sex without responsibility is selfish. And charm without character is dangerous. And before anyone says this is anti-men, absolutely not. I am a mother of 2 sons. It is my responsibility to teach them well, to teach them about women, to teach them how to treat women, and to teach them how to behave as men. This is about pro-growth. This is about pro-respect, pro-health, pro-family, pro-soul. This is about pro-men becoming better so women don't have to keep surviving around them. Because the truth is, a lot of men are not evil. They're just underdeveloped. They weren't taught things. They were shamed out of emotion, rewarded for conquest, praised for detachment, mocked for their softness, gave to pornography before purpose, gave to their ego before ethics, gave influence before even understanding wisdom. And now we have generations of men who can perform cool but cannot sustain intimacy. They can pull women but cannot keep trust. And they can talk flirty but cannot talk honesty. You know, there's men that post gym selfies but they can't sit with their actual shame. They lead conversations to the bedroom but cannot lead themselves through grief, through stress, through conflict, through fatherhood, or even through commitment. That's not strength, that is imbalance. And imbalance always shows up somewhere. In the body, in the mind, in the home, and in the bed. But definitely in your nervous system and in your relationship, and it'll show up in your children and even in your culture. So yep, some of this may have sounded funny, but I am being serious, because how you treat women is health. It's mental health, it's emotional health, it's spiritual health. It tells me how regulated you are, how accountable you are, how fractured you are, how integrated you are. It tells me how much truth you can bear about yourself. If every relationship in your life is chaotic, if every woman ends up crazy, if every ex is toxic, if every disagreement becomes a disrespectful issue, if every boundary feels like an insult, maybe the common denominator needs to sit down and shut the F up for a minute and just reflect, because wisdom starts where defensiveness ends. So nephew, here's Auntie Jazz's final word. Before you worry about getting women, get your mind right, get your nervous system right, get your habits right, and get your honesty right. The relationship that you have with your pain, the discipline that you have, and the values that you have, they've got to be sitting right so that you can get your soul right. Because a man who has not mastered himself will always misuse access to others. And if you really want to be attractive, trustworthy, if you really want to be masculine and disciplined, if you really want to be respected, you've got to be respectful. If you want love, be safe for it. That's sexy. That's rare. And that is growing. If this message hit you, then good. Take the hit. I know you can take it. Let it wake you up. Share this with a nephew, with your brother, with your dad, with your friend who thinks that manipulation is charisma and confusion is flirting, because it is not. And if you're a man who is actually ready to grow, ready to level up, ready to do the work, ready to stop performing and start becoming, you might just be a digital warrior. Come and join us. Come and join me at digitalwarriors.cx, because customer experience matters. Come into the community, the conversation, the space where truth is not optional and growth is actually a standard. Because we're not here to shame you for being a man. We're here to challenge you to become one. Alright, nephew, that's enough from Auntie Jazz today. I need to go and finish my walk. You can go and have a drink. Go have a drink of water. Go and apologise to the woman that you've been confusing. Call your mum, say you love her, sort your spirit out and stop leading with your dick like it's got a PhD. It does not. I said what I said, but I still love you all. Jazz.